Look at us, huh? Who would have thought? Not me.
Like, what the fuck's this guy? Yeah,
So
okay, cool.
the official season wrap-up show, and it starts off with us talking about Mayweather because that fight is on now. And I think, is a universal agreement everyone's cheering for Mayweather? Or is anyone cheering for Logan?
I'm who? Logan who? That's me. That's my
See, I liked Pacquiao, and I didn't like Mayweather's like chirping about it, but I'd still take seeing Mayweather like smash this guy.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Joke.
Pacquiao reminds me of Pac-Man. I can't support that.
I love Pacquiao, man. That guy was awesome.
Yeah, I like
I
Pacquiao.
had
just
some
like
Filipino friends that were like, this guy was like their god, right? He also became like their political leader or some shit in Philippines.
Oh wow.
He was one of 7 senators in the country.
Yeah.
Damn.
Like a really big deal.
It's like if Ronaldo ran for like a senior role in Portugal and they said, just have it, take it, man. You're our leader now. And he's like, I didn't go to school. I punch people in the head. I've had lots of concussions. I'm now your leader. And that's it. But he's a nice guy. He does a lot of charity work and shit.
And shit.
All right, man. What a good way to start off. Good morning, gentlemen, from Cesar de Silva. He's out there in the AM somewhere. Probably in the world of Luigi and Ethan. Thank you so much, guys, for staying up late for this wrap-up. We got Alex is legit sunny in California. Like, he has a halo around his head. Like, holy cow.
Yeah, it's the evening. It's 5 o'clock in the evening here in California, and the sun's not going down for another 3 hours or so.
We got good evening from Cynthia, which she's upstairs, and that is the sun is slowly setting. Still sunny out here, and that's where Joe's at, also East Coast time zone. And yeah, we're going to be talking about, the season as a whole. We're going to cover off a ton of stuff. And there's so much to cover off, so I don't even know where to start off. So I'm going to start off with a couple comments here and there. There's a lot of people that dropped off a ton of comments on something I asked. And I'm just going to start with Mr. Benfica. He has his own show that he runs. He's been on our show several times. He's a great guy out of Joe's neck of the woods. And basically what he wrote was the biggest piece of blame of the pie goes to Luis Fiera and or his cronies who misspent $100 million without addressing the immediate needs of the team. Now that the season is over, it's fair to say that George Jesus wasn't the right man for the job. It was a gamble that went bust. George Jesus' work was not good this year, but the one who hired him has the ultimate responsibility for making the decision, and all of our young players were loaned out to teams that had little need for them and lost a year of development. Again, we were set up to fail.
Yeah.
And that's on the president. There we go. Giddy up. Boom.
Hey guys, do you ever feel like you guys know when you're back in school and the teacher goes, "All right, John, you read now," and then everyone sits there just waits for him to read the whole page. It's okay, now what do you think? I felt like that. That was kind of cool. All right. Ethan's eating the pie.
All right, there we go. Okay, so that's Mr. Benfica. So let's just start off. The season's done, and the season started with $100 million. To Mr. Benfica's comment, do you think it was $100 million well spent? What do you think the worst of that misspending was, and what would be, a positive? I'm gonna just throw it out to Ethan because he's celebrating something special right now.
Yeah, it's my 18th birthday for people who don't know what is a great milestone, I believe.
Oh, it is.
But no, the 100 million. Say that again, Luigi.
Use protection, mate, please.
Shut up. But no, 100 million. It went pretty much down the drain, didn't it? I don't think we spent it very well at all. It was a big investment, 100 million. That's a lot of money, and a lot of clubs don't get that sort of money, and we have, and we spent it. And apart from really the Tongan, who's really started almost every single game, apart from that, Darwin's been good in spells. Pedrinho's hardly done anything. A few of the other lads who have come in, they haven't done a lot, and the 100 million was kind of gone down the drain, hasn't it? Could have been put into somewhere else in the club.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
I'm still baby-faced. Thanks.
There you go from Cynthia.
I thought it was to me.
In terms of the 100 million, I'm not even going to get into the blame, but spending 100 million in the midst of a pandemic, for anyone that went through the Panther season, like that we can't really complain about spending the money. At least we didn't end up with Varela in net. Like, it could have been worse. But that being said, like, when you look at the money that was spent of the 100 million, for Darwin, for example, now he has this knee injury. You're kind of starting to second guess that one. You went to go get the leading goal scorer in the second division of Spain, and then you loaned out your leading goal scorer in Portugal last season with Carlos Vinicius. So it's an interesting move to start off. Cebolinha, I think, was great. I think that was still a good pickup, but I just think he was mismanaged. Like, he came from Brazil with a ton of matches in his legs, and then JJ played him in something like 18 or 20 straight matches. Like, even the small cup matches against like a Estrela da Amadora and everything. Like, you didn't need to do that. That's on JJ. Pedrinho, I didn't like that move. Luca, I really didn't like that move. But then you look at Otamendi, who, we had to give up Ruben Dias really for Otamendi, and there was a lot of confusion there just because of not qualifying for the Champions League. But the only great signings, I would say, were Everton Cebolinha, who I think will show a lot more in the years to come, and then Lucas Verissimo, who was obviously the January pickup. But even then, it's like, if you got the guy in January, you couldn't have tried to make that deal a little bit earlier. But like Todibo from Barca, that was a terrible loan. Yeah. Didn't even play. To me, it was just 100 million. Is great that we spent 100 million, but like you said, Ethan, it was just poorly spent.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I just put up some stats on the screen on Everton and also Verissimo. Clearly two of the brighter signings of the 100 million. And I'll throw one quick comment and then toss it to Luigi and Alex in a second in there. So there's someone else that left a comment, similar R&D guy. And he kind of echoed a little bit what Joe was saying, where he said after winning the 18-19 and we sold Felix, got rid of João, we should replace him with another decent striker, but instead we didn't do anything. Barely spent at that point. And then the winter break, when we were really struggling, Bruno Henrique, we had talked a lot about him last year, was available to fill the gap as an offensive type player, and we got really stingy. Like, it was one of these things where he's a class Brazilian player that everyone knew was class, and supposedly it was like a few dollars shy, and we choose not to spend. And then all of a sudden now we're blowing the budget, which is it's disappointing. It is what it is. We all know it's election talk. But go ahead, Luigi, man. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, still on that subject about the 100 million. I would have much rather. I know it's easy to say now, but I would have still said it. I would much rather just keep that 100 million. And use it to cover, the losses from the Champions League, and keep Ruben as well, and just rock and roll with the same team, with Gonçalo as an option. Forget Darwin, forget Everton, forget Pedrinho, forget Lucas. Sorry, guys, what's on my throat? But yeah, I would have much rather done that. But yeah, I do agree. Lucas Verissimo can become something special. I can see that in him. And Everton, I was eating onions, right? That shows the confidence I have in a guy, So I do believe those guys can become way better and show a lot more for the next season. And I do hope Pedrinho. I know there's talks of him leaving, and I know from some people that it's very, 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 very close for him to leave. But I would like him to stay, because I honestly think he can progress a lot. I think in a way. I love Everton, but I sometimes see stuff in Pedrinho that I miss in Portugal, and I can see him being very important. But if he leaves, that's it. That's done. I like to add as well. I think Joe touched on Todibo or whatever. I think his loan was a great idea, just really mismanaged. I think he was a great player. He could have played. I think he showed up a lot in France. Is it Nice? I believe it was Nice. It was the moment he stepped in, he showed up. So that just shows there's something going on. There's mismanagement, and I know we're getting into more of it later. But he left me with like this bad taste. It's like this guy leaves Benfica, doesn't even get minutes. He got minutes one game. I actually really liked it. That game he played, and then he just gets, I know we don't want you. And then he goes to Nice, and within like hours, not even days, within hours of him starting to play for Nice, he's one of the best centers, one of the best centre backs in Ligue 1. So I just think it was really, really mismanaged. But yeah, I'll pass it over to Mel. I know he's got some stuff to say.
Yeah, have you guys ever heard that saying, "Looking for love in all the wrong places"?
Yeah,
I think that's what Benfica's doing with their scouting department. If you look over the last couple seasons and where we've poached these players, where we're looking to gain talent from, they're not. You know, you go back to Kyle Lucas. You know, you go back to Nicholas from Pumas that we signed, the Mexican cat from Pumas. Even Shakhtar with what's his name? What was the cat's name? Facundo. Didn't he come from Shakhtar?
Yeah, Ferreira. Yeah.
Facundo Ferreira, right. I mean, you look back to where we were. I mean, it's different with Everton. We went back to the South America, but we're just not. The scouting department doesn't seem to be looking for talent in the right places to me. $25 million for a kid in the Spanish division. You know, what are your scouts watching? What channels do they get over there in Lisbon? Because where are we finding these cats? You know, where are we finding these guys? You build a lot of talent. You've seen today in the under 21, there's a lot of Benfica. There's a lot of talent, but you rely on these signings from, you know, like the Kyle Lucases of the world and the Darwin Nunez's of the world. I don't think it was a miss signing with Everton. It just took a long time for him to, you know, be used in the correct way, for him to get space, for him to play with the ball a little bit more. That's JJ's fault. But like I said, I don't think Benfica's just, we're not signing the type of caliber players that we're used to signing over the last couple seasons. We're signing a lot more flops and creating a lot more stars, but we're selling those stars. I mean, look at Ruben Diaz is gone. That's a homegrown talent. So we're not doing a very good job of identifying the kids who are ready, a la Gonçalo Ramos, and using them to Benfica's benefit. What we're doing is we're selling them early. Ruben Diaz, we didn't even get the full amount as far as his buyout clause. We got Nicolas Otamendi, and don't get me wrong, Otamendi played great, had some great stretches of football, but that's not a good consolation prize. I don't care what anybody says. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he played great, but like, you got Otamendi for Ruben Diaz. Like,
Big difference.
It's a big difference. Yeah, and you're paying a ridiculous amount for Otamendi's salary. And really quick, I just want to add on top of all this, the $100 million is really a blanket statement, right? It really wasn't $100 million that was attributed to the books from this past season, right? Lucas Verissimo, I think his money counted for last season. Jan Vertonghen was a free signing, right? So it wasn't, yeah, you spent money, but it wasn't like you spent a fee on it. Right, so I think it was around $60 million that really went to the books for this season, and I think that was Everton, Waldschmidt, and Darwin Nunez. If I'm not mistaken, those are the three guys that really counted or attributed to the salary or the lump sum that Benfica kind of signed this year. And again, I just go back before I wrap it up. I just say, like I said, we're just scouting in the wrong departments. You know, we're not looking in the right countries. A couple seasons ago, we signed this cat from, I don't even know. I forget what we signed him, and we loaned him right away. Like, he's a midfielder. I want to say maybe he was from Czech. He was maybe a Czech midfielder, something like that, a couple seasons ago. Like, where are we finding these guys? You know what I mean? Like, the picture that he took, I'll look it up and to see who it was. But they took a picture. I'll never forget. They took a picture of the cat, and the dude's like chubby. Everybody's like, "Is this the guy that we signed? Who is this guy?" You know what I mean? And then you loan him out. I just think that we're not signing the correct players. I think the scouting department needs like an overhaul. If not the youth department, right? Because youth is separate, but that first team scouting department, man, some you got to roll. Heads got to roll. And if it's Luis Vieira who's making these signings, then you know that. What's to say? You know, what can I say about that hasn't already been said a million fucking times?
Exactly, and I think across the board on all the comments we saw, you know, a lot of people saying the same thing. And Jorge usually Vieira. Not surprised in that sense. for Joe,
Right.
real quickly, like I got your this. We have a ton of things we could show, but I just have the total player stats for now, and I gotta scroll this up to get down to the defenders. But get your thoughts out on that, and then if there's anything in particular to you that stood out when you, because you spent a lot of time this season gathering a load of data on each match. What would you say, like the things that popped out to you on this sheet that you created?
Yeah, I actually did want to just explain some things first to people because I kept this kind of to myself, and then I realized, hey, this would be great to kind of show on the show. So when I look at involvements, goal involvements, which is right next to like involvements per 90 minutes, minutes per game, and all that. I was counting also like Everton, for example, Cebolinha. If you look before, like he only has 19 goals and assists if you add those two up. But I have 21 involvements because he did have a hand, like a direct hand in two own goals throughout the season. So that's something where like if the guy headed the ball and then the defender heads it right into his net, if Everton doesn't head it, that's not going in. So I count that kind of as a goal involvement. Then I kept like man of the matches for Liga Knowledge too up there, and then caps, of course, just whoever was given the captain's armband at the beginning of the game. But something for me that was not on here that it definitely merits being mentioned is just Seth. Like you look at his stats and you look like, well, if you look at the stats, like he was our best player for goal involvements per 90 minutes. But if you looked at the fact that he missed pretty much as many big chances as he scored, you kind of have to take that with a grain of salt. And so, yeah, I think that's something that's not on here that definitely merits being mentioned. But then also when you look at the minutes breakdown, just to see how much a guy like Everton played when he had no real preseason, when he just came off of minutes in Brazil, and seeing the numbers he was able to put up, even with all of that, I think to me just really speaks volumes.
Yeah, no, it's nuts. When you look at like who were our main players that played as much as they did on this list, you had obviously Seferovic. Considering that's the funny thing, minutes played of all of our forwards, we signed Luka Waldschmidt, we signed Darwin, we had Gonzalo, which was a big up and coming kid. Seth was supposed
real quick, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I found him. Erdal Rakip.
I don't even know who the frig that is. I'll be honest.
Exactly. We got him from Crystal Palace a couple seasons ago. Like, what the fuck? Who's signing these guys?
Oh man, that's wild, man. I honestly don't know, man. I can't even think of who this guy is. But yeah, man, looking at the minutes, I'm actually surprised Seferovic got as many minutes as he did. Gonzalo, I'm shocked, got as little as he did, especially considering, Chiquinho. The fact that you have Chiquinho and he, not Chiquinho, sorry, Darwin, similar age. I know he spent a ton of money, but they're the same kind of youth guys coming up. And what I originally thought was going to happen with Darwin and Gonzalo was what we had with Rodrigo and Nelson Oliveira. You had two exciting youth guys that were each going to get a little opportunities here and there and see which one shines, and you hope one of them really breaks through. And at the time, you had also the primary ones. I was thinking maybe Luka was going to be our primary striker because he was the experienced guy out of the Bundesliga, and we were going to go one guy up top or something. You know what I mean? And I'm shocked how many minutes Darwin got relative to everything. And to be honest, I'm pretty surprised how piss poor Luka was in the grand scheme of things when I look at it. Right?
Yeah, there was one thing really quickly I would like to add about Luka, and I mean I know we'll get into Player of the Year, Shitties of the Year, everything later on, but like the first match, that Fakili Maun from Licão match, he was phenomenal. Like the 5 goal win, like him and Darwin looked like they were off on all cylinders. We were all, high on life at the time for like our expectations. But man, especially the games against in Madeira, like one against Nacional, one against Marítimo. I even made a joke way back then that like it seemed like the guy had a girlfriend in the island or like a certain club that he liked to go to because he just didn't have his feet. And it's one thing if for Seth, I know that Seth's a different case because he's he's not a young guy that has like, the jitters in front of the net or anything. But if you're missing goals, it's one thing. If you just can't settle simple passes and you're having trouble like controlling the ball, which was really the case with Luka for, a lot of the season, that's an issue. And that to me really goes into like what everyone was saying before, like even Alex and Luigi, like that's scouting. Like if you scout a guy, if you sign a guy for 14, 15 million that can't even settle a ball, like take any guy from Seychelles on the B team and at least he'll get that and he'll love the shirt he's playing for. So to me, that's something that definitely merits being mentioned. And obviously, we know that injuries happen. But really, with Darwin and Luka, like more so Darwin, he had like those injuries and the lingering knee issue. But like Luka just kind of got benched. It seemed like JJ had picked up pretty early on, or at points in the season, that he just wasn't the guy for the squad. I'm not sure if you guys agree with that.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
This is kind of weird also. It's just man of the matches. Basically, Seth got 6, right, throughout the entire season. Luka was tied for second with a few people with 4, which is shocking. And it kind of goes to show that, sometimes we get caught up with these awards. But, man, the fact that Luka Waldschmidt, out of the entire squad, was tied for second for man of the match awards, he must have got those early on, man. It had to be just the early few games is when he probably got him, is my guess. But
I can actually break it down for you guys if you want.
Yeah, man.
So his first one was against Lico, week 1. His second one was the 3-0 Rio Ave win in week 4. His third one was against Paços de Ferreira and the 2-1 win in week 9. And then nothing happened until in week 25 against Marítimo. And that was the game he had the only goal. And that was his fourth man of the match there. So
relatively early, I guess. Then they got 3 games there in the first 10, 3 man of the matches in the first 10. So yeah,
exactly. And then he scored a lone match.
Yeah,
you got to give JJ. I mean, I know JJ's gonna get. We're gonna talk about JJ. I'm sure here in this show today. But you think about that, and at least JJ did have some sense in if you're not playing well, you're getting benched. There were certain players who didn't have as long of a leash as normal. Peasy sat down for long stretches of this season. Waldschmidt, another guy who sat down for long stretches of this season, who weren't playing well. So, I mean, I think JJ did, he tried his best as far as identifying players who were going to give them something and identify players who weren't giving anything. But it just seems like nothing was clicking, right? Nothing was clicking. What I'm just saying about JJ is at least, speaking of Wally, it's not a guy who the amount of money we spent on him dictated how many minutes he was going to get. Now, Darwin, in the beginning of the season, that's a different story. I think that was handled poorly. From the very beginning of the season, he should have never started like that. You should. I always compare it to like American football. When you draft a real young quarterback and you got a veteran quarterback, you let the kid sit down for a year or a half a season, or you let him sit down to learn the game, the speed. You start him on the toss of game. You bring him in with 11 minutes to go in the match. You know what I mean? You bring him in early, and I think that was mishandled. But with Wally. With Wally, though, it wasn't. I don't think it was mishandled. I think that, Wally had a short leash, and he got benched. He got benched plenty of times in this season. So, I don't know, man. I think there's definitely a talent problem on this team.
Yeah, but Alex, you're right. Sorry, Luis.
No, go, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say just real quick that like comment about kind of like the American football, the NFL quarterbacks. That's literally what it is. Like, we look at this guy and, okay, yeah, he was the leading scorer. He's not 26 years old, like a 26-year-old Portuguese kid who played in Italy for a little bit and he's coming back home. He's from Uruguay. He played in Spain. He's 21 years old. Clearly, like, there are moments where he shows his confidence, but over the course of the season, you saw that the confidence isn't there. And if you're a striker, if you're going to be that number 9, if you're going to be the leading goal scorer for the whole league or for one club, you need to have those types of skills. And the fact that the team or like the management coaching staff isn't able to just look at him and be like, you know what, maybe we should give this guy a rest. He hasn't scored for a couple games. And that's when you bring in a Gonçalo Ramos or someone like that. And when the veterans are performing the same way, like Peasy, if veterans are performing, you don't just keep them out there for the sake of having them. You take them off and say, you see this young guy? He'll give it his all. He'll give you hell in practice, and then he'll go on the pitch on match day and try to do his best just to take your job. Like, you need to light the fire under him somehow. And it seemed like it's just like, hey, we're gonna put an 11 out there, whatever 11 we put out, and results will come as they will. But we're not gonna try to motivate anyone like if they need it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a mess.
The chat is cracking me up. We got Fab saying, season wrap up, more like, wrap it up and bin it, mate. And just for the Americans, it means trash can, which is funny. And Andrew in the chat said, Benfica after 90, more like Benfica in the 90s. That's what it feels like right now with Luis Vieira. And I'm going through this list here, and I got to... Okay, so we see one guy that got a lot of heat, I think rightfully so, and one guy we really wanted to see and we eventually saw, which was the Gilberto versus Diogo conversation. You know, Feli Diogo really stole that position, rightfully so. And yet, when you look at the stats, man, Jorge Jesus is one of the most stubborn managers out there. Once he picks something, he sticks with it until he's not allowed playing it. And that's what happened with Diogo. He was forced to play him. It was that Gilberto couldn't play, and he got forced to use him, and Diogo just looked so much better, and then eventually he just resulted in using him. But it's still impressive that when you look at kind of the fullback situation, obviously Grimaldo's Grimaldo, but then it's Diogo. Not Diogo, then it's Gilberto. He's the second biggest one. And Diogo is just, there, but then you have Nuno Tavares not too far away. It's insane how much time he got. Let me throw it to Ethan real quickly here. I'm glad that he recognized that at least, right? So what do you think of the whole Gilberto? Should he stay? Should he go? That's one of the guys we brought on with the 100 million.
Gilberto, for me, I haven't really been impressed with him all season round. He hasn't done anything superb, like, you know what I mean? And when we've got people like in the sort of B team, in the sort of setup, you've got João Vieira, who's obviously a young, promising right back who's coming up through the ranks. We don't need Gilberto, man. We don't need him. It's
true.
Like, we don't do we? And like Diego Gonçalves, when he's playing real well, we don't need anyone. And with João Vieira, like, he can slot into Diego Gonçalves' position when Diego Gonçalves isn't playing as well, if that makes sense, And that promotes the academy pathway, But buying people like Gilberto is not helping the club. It's not helping the younger players, and what the club's really all about, what is bringing youth players up through the ranks into the first team,
I think something interesting there too is like João Ferreira, like you were saying, forever is the easy way to say it, kind of.
Yeah.
I know that's like a tongue twister sometimes.
Yeah.
But for me, like, you have people forget. I've been following like a lot of the guys we've loaned out all season, like Tomás Tavares, the guy that you unleashed in the Champions League last season. Yeah, like people forget, like, he was loaned out to Leganes or somewhere in Spain in the first division, didn't really play. Then shout out to Benfica for whoever was involved there and the loan manager, whoever it is. He ended up actually calling him back and loaning him out to France, and he played and started all 18 games that he played in.
He even started
even if he didn't play
didn't he?
all those games. Sorry?
Didn't he get a starter too? Didn't he get a starter too in the under 21s? Just
Yeah, I believe he did. I know he was called up for sure. Which obviously says a lot in and of itself, because you look at all the talent on that squad. You had guys that started in Liga NOS for large parts of the season, starting like Daniel Bragança and Tiago Tomás and everyone. But for me, it's like you have this guy who is starting to get the Liga NOS minutes, 18 games, 18 starts, pretty much played every game. I don't care how he played. Like, he has the rhythm. Like, they always say, oh, you have to like kind of get that rhythm going when you're stepping up to the first team at any club. And I think the kid has it. Now, left back, obviously, I know we have a lot to go into left back if Grimaldo were to ever get injured or hurt. But even then, like, maybe you put Tomás Tavares to left back and you keep João Ferreira. Like, I think, again, Gilberto, like you said, Ethan, he was the last thing we needed. And the funny thing is, I don't want anyone to forget that he was an express transfer from Jorge Jesus. He said, I want this guy. I've seen him in Brazil. He's good. I don't know if, he had a little cachaça or something before he watched him play, but he's trash.
He's no good. He's no good.
Trash, bro. He's trash. Gilberto has to go far away. Like, he has to leave this team. And this team needs to really, I'm telling you, man, they need to get back to signing, like, quality players. Like, it's an embarrassment when you kind of look at the team and our bench and who comes into sub and players even we have loaned out, right? Like, Florentino Luis, I mean, if he didn't take the world by storm a little bit with the U21, his U21 performances, I mean, I seen everybody talking about this kid on Twitter. I mean, everybody was talking about this kid on Twitter and how great he was and how, we loaned him out. Even Jota. Look at Jota playing. Jota played amazing. The kid was amazing. He's a magician out there. But let's just say, I want to talk about JJ for a second. JJ had no what's the word I'm looking for? There was no passion left in JJ this season. There was no excitement left in JJ this season. It was kind of like when we would go down in a game, he would have this look on his face like he doesn't understand why we're losing, like how we could have gave up a match. And furthermore, he doesn't know how he's going to get us out of this fucking rut, right? Because Benfica's not good without a lead. In my mind, in this season, Benfica was not good without a lead this year. So when you go down and JJ, now he has to think and now he has to coach. Now he has to manage mid-game. And his managing style is just to really just yell nonsense from the sidelines, right? That's really his coaching style. You can hear him every game. And without the fans, you kind of realize what kind of, what his coaching style really was. Just yelling shit from the sidelines, doing hand crosses, things like that. So I think JJ was a big part in a lot of people's I guess poor or down season. Like it just didn't breed excitement into the team whatsoever.
Quick one as well before we move on, mate. Sorry, I got a close friend watching the pod.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to talk too much. He doesn't like talking too much, but he just said that Pedrinho is joining Shakhtar basically, and they pay Shakhtar is basically paying the fee straight to is it Corinthians where he came from?
Yeah, Corinthians. Yeah.
So they will literally pay for Pedrinho to Corinthians. I mean, Benfica will not even be involved in a purchase because we had agreed to pay in 5 times, and the first payment would be at the end of the season. So by selling him now, they'll literally just
we would have
PayPal.
We would have done one payment, I think, out of that. We probably they're probably of the 5
Wait, so
installments.
Benfica get no money out of this deal?
They get we lost money on it probably because we
Sounds
paid
like a great deal.
Yeah.
No,
What is it about this guy? What is it about this guy?
Not 1 cent
Honestly.
has left the Benfica state. Like the
What is it about
He's
Pedrinho
not
that
paying
people?
anything
I've seen a lot of Benfica fans this season too. He's got to start. He's got to start. Why?
Because
Well, what, did he,
I wouldn't say
what was
start.
he so good at? What did he do?
Nothing.
There's literally it was that one goal. He scored a goal top bins in the test. I forget what team we played. That's like particular match, but that was the one thing. Like he's silky on the ball and everything, but like you never saw him really when Everton had the ball in his
Like
best
his
games,
hair.
he was always dangerous. And you looked at him, you're like, oh, defender. Yeah, if I was a defender, I'd be afraid. With Pedrinho, it's like, all right, if this guy doesn't get the ball when he's already behind me, I'm not afraid of him like running at me. You know?
He's gonna run right into me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never saw this. I
you-
never saw what everybody else saw or wanted to see in Pedrinho. I thought it was just. And if it's a wash and we didn't lose anything, good, cool. And you know what, Shakhtar aren't they full of Brazilians? That team, full of them.
They got a history with them.
They used to have more.
Yeah.
They used to have more.
Do we have to play?
They
Do
still
we
have,
have to play? Are they in one of the pots? Shakhtar.
No, they're
That we might have to qualify.
Is it gonna be Zivkovic? Is it gonna be a Zivkovic?
Yeah, I don't want to exactly. I hope not because I don't feel good about it already.
No,
You don't have to worry about
Watch
that.
him
We
now.
have
He'll
more.
go to Turkey and he'll rip it up. Watch him.
We'll go to Turkey.
Yeah.
I'm
And
worried- I'm
Pedrinho
worried.
decides that.
Oh,
Pedrinho
Ukraine.
decides to have a
Sorry,
fucking
Ukraine.
master class.
So we got a
Yeah, they're in. You know,
we got enclosure.
just so you know, Melo, real quick, they're in Champions League.
They're just in
Yeah.
Champions League, so we don't. Okay.
No, Champions League qualification, so they have to qualify like we do.
Yeah, same. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, they're in the same thing. Yeah, we can maybe play them.
Here we go.
You know?
Here we go.
Hey, here we go
Here we
again.
go.
You know that
Jesus
GTA thing? Here we go again.
Here we go again.
There we go again.
So we got enclosure in the chat. He brought up the goalkeeping, getting a new goalkeeper in a sense is a comment he made. So we got Odie and we got Helton Leite. Everything I'm hearing from the rumor mill is Odie's done. You know, they pretty much played the same number of games this season. It's clear that George Jesus has his favorite, and it's clear that Odie wants to be at a club where he's a starter.
Where's he going?
No idea, but he wants out. You can see the guy doesn't want to be here, right?
Yeah.
And there isn't like a drastic I don't think there's a drastic difference. I think you can make an argument why Odie's
I like
good.
Svilar anyways.
Oh God.
I like Svilar anyway.
So do I, yeah. I like
Yeah.
him.
No, I don't. I don't want.
I don't think he's ready for the team yet, but I honestly don't see. I see him being better than Odie anytime. Man.
And, yeah, you put him in Odie's spot, right? I mean, it feels like Helton is going to be the guy next year. You put him in. You put Svilar in Odie's spot. I think
Buffon is gonna be the guy next year, man.
Yeah, right. My grandfather's gonna call my pops while they're at it. Jesus Christ! I don't want that. We're gonna have to pay the fee and Social Security for this fucking guy. I don't want to do
It's
it.
not happening.
Social Security.
It's not happening. But yo,
He's gonna go in the field with life alert. He's gonna have, and if he falls, he's gonna press a button, and then we're gonna have to go get him off the field. No, I don't want Gigi Buffon.
it's not gonna happen. But he's my top 3, man. He's a third.
No, he's a legend. He's a legend.
That's fine, brother, of all time, but not today. Not at this time. Not at 5:41 Pacific time, brother. No way.
really when I get upset about us not qualifying directly, because I think if Benfica had qualified directly to the Champions League, a guy like Gigi Donnarumma from Milan who's leaving on a free, I think you'd be able to to loop him in and be like, hey, listen, we got this project. You'll be able to play with Otamendi and Jan Vertonghen, 2 crazy experienced center backs, but you'll also have this up and coming guy, Lucas Friis.
No, he won't.
People like Otamendi, huh? Otamendi, that's our sell. Jesus Christ.
Well, no, I mean, for honestly, if I was a young keeper like that, I mean, Milan lately hasn't really had any
You're right. It's a name.
center back.
You're right.
Just Rick Costa,
Like, that's-
Rick Costa, man.
Hey,
Legend.
AC Milan though, they got a nice little thing going on over there, man. I'm really surprised if they let that kid go. They got a nice young team over there, man.
He wants to play. Right?
Everyone's saying he wants to leave.
He wants to leave. Oh man.
Yeah, well, no,
Just when they're coming back. Just when they're kind of coming back.
It's weird.
It's crazy. That's nuts.
Yeah, so it's still crazy that Pizzi tied. You know, speaking of stats, one of the stats on there was the Europa League. He tied for top goal scorer, right? So I don't know if he actually was given an award at all from UEFA for that. Do you think it's time, like, you know, they go out in the shopping network and go, hey, guys, you know, if you want Europa's #1 goal scoring guy, you didn't make it far in the tournament even, and see if we can actually get a decent dollar, because you got a feeling we're going to be looking for some kind of transfer. So you're telling me Pedrinho, we paid for salary and agent fees and other things of sort, so we're letting him go. We're not losing money or making money on it other than that. But I got a feeling, you know, knowing Luis Vieira, there's going to be money.
Why don't they just loan him?
Pedrinho?
Loan who?
Pedrinho.
I thought him.
I don't, but I think it's just the potential maybe isn't there. They've had a good look at him. The thing that's infuriating.
This guy's got some ears.
Well, Shakhtar's willing to throw the fucking, you know, another 18 at him.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, my thing that irritates me about the whole Pedrinho situation is this whole, in February, end of February, the Luis Vieira interview about him ranting how much a crack this guy is and supposedly how much George Jesus loves this guy and all this BS, to not see this guy get any real, because at that point we'd seen a little of him. He had just done his goal around that time, and we're like, you know what, maybe this guy can finally turn around. Maybe he finds his way.
Can I say one thing quickly?
Yeah.
I love how optimistic Joe was. Paulo Bernardo in Europe. Optimistic, I like it, bro. He tried. He's like, you know, you never know. He might come on at some point, you know.
Hey, he covered every single guy out there.
JJ might go, what the fuck's this geezer? Oh, I made a mistake. Fuck. Hold on.
You know, I seen in the chat, Donnarumma he's unfortunately, like what's he say? He's not. It's unrealistic. You know what kind of bothers me is that Benfica have made coming to Benfica for players like that unrealistic by just their signings, right? It's kind of been a joke of signings that we've brought in. Like you don't want to. Who wants to come play for Sefedovic? Like you said earlier, you tried the Otamendi, right? You sell him Otamendi, Jan Vertonghen, and I get that. But like, what about the attacking guy? Oh, you're gonna play with Pizzi and Everton, and maybe Everton's nice, right? Maybe that's a nice piece, but you're gonna pass the ball to Sefedovic and Darwin Núñez. right? You're gonna pair up to Opt. Like, I think Benfica has dug themselves in a little bit of a hole as far as being able to assign a Donnarumma, if you will. You know what I mean? I think that's a problem. That's just my opinion, though. I think Benfica is a great team to go play for. Lisbon's a beautiful city in a beautiful country with a historic team. Like, we have made ourselves the running joke. I think we've done this a lot to ourselves.
I think if we'd kept Caio Lucas, we would have a much better set.
Oh yeah, we'd have a pipeline to
like, you're gonna be pinging balls to Caio Lucas 7, my friend. TL7. You're gonna be pinging balls to that geezer.
He signed my football, and as soon as he signed it, it started to deflate a little bit.
That ball is now worth less than
yeah. I bought the ball for $20. It's not even worth that anymore. It's fucking
11.
Depreciated. Yeah, it's fucked up.
Ethan, I think Ethan wants to say something.
Yeah, let Ethan go. Yeah.
He's been trying.
You know how we've like kind of dug ourselves a hole with like not being able to attract some big player signings. It's like when Diego Costa was released, like we were, like speculated to have him like quite a lot, wasn't we? But yeah. I think, as you said, like he wants to come and play with Severovic. I know he's like had a decent season, scored a lot of goals, but he wants to play with him. Like, you know what I mean? And we're in a big hole at the minute, and it's going to take quite a long time, I think, to attract players like Donnarumma, Buffon, Diego Costa. I think it's going to take some rebuilding to attract those sort of players now.
I think that there is an identity crisis at this club, because I was just going through the various players on the screen here, and we got such an island of misfits, throwing out the old Christmas Rudolph Red-Nosed Reindeer kind of reference from the 1950s, or God time that was. But like, I look at these guys, and I don't know what type of team we're trying to build. I truly don't know. Like, if I look at before George Jesus came to Benfica the first time, we had this kind of like, okay, we're a 4-4-2 team. We had guys like Cardozo. We were signing that guy from Inter. Suazu. We had this kind of like team that you go, okay, this is the identity. You need to get this identity playing. Here's the bench. Here's what we got. Sign a couple players, away we go. Then we had this identity that we were trying to build. Then George Jesus came and built off that, and it grew. And then we kind of started switching to this from the 4-4-2 to this 4-3-3 kind of thing, the late stage of Rui Vitória, and then I led into Lage. And it kind of seemed that's what the B team was built. This is part of the reason why Lage was brought on. Supposedly that's what he trained in the B team. He had all this youth. That's what they played. That's what all these guys, Gonzalo Ramos, the Tavareses of the world, all these guys are built for that formation. And now you got this team where we're playing with 3 in the back. These guys are old. There's these stories of Verissimo that supposedly he's not only like lightly injured, I think he's potentially seriously injured. He's going to miss the Champions League supposedly next year. Like, this shit's a train wreck from the sound.
Verissimo's that hurt?
Supposedly it's like
he's not going to be ready in August?
They're worried about it. He's missing the beginning of the season from the sounds of it. They're very concerned how bad it is. And I'm like, I now again, it's early days, right? But
well, that's okay, because we're gonna have Buffon, so it doesn't matter.
Well, I definitely at one point want to, if we have time today, I'm not sure if this is something that we want to do today, later on in the season, look in the next season, but like some of the guys we have, we always think about the guys that are currently playing in the B team, because I know some people still watch those games, but we really forget about like people we've loaned out and stuff. Like Pedro Alvaro was a guy that at one point was like, okay, that's going to be your center back in the future. You have the Serbian guy, the Kalajka, that was on the first team a few years back, that's back on the second team. You have guys like that I think, if you have a big player that's hurt and stuff like that, it shouldn't be like, oh, Verissimo moves out, like, cancel the season, we're not qualifying for the Champions League. You should be able to have guys that you can just slide in. Listen, one guy's hurt, slide in this guy from the B team, and we'll be okay. He won't do anything crazy, but he also won't, give up an own goal or something like that.
Or you don't get a situation where you hit the Taça Portugal and you're playing Morato, which has not seen any minutes all season, when he's had a plentiful amount of times where he could have played a few games, either as a sub or something. And this goes to the question of, is George Jesus even the right man for the job? And I know in the questions we had, there was like a big debate that happened in the chat from the one video I had posted, where, last time George Jesus had a bad season. This is from CS. He rebounded with basically, he said the treble the next season, right? So I shouldn't dismiss George Jesus so quickly. I think the big difference between then and now is George Jesus had like an all-star team he won. Then he went on a losing streak for 3 straight years, but he still had an all-star team he was working with. And it felt like
he had an all-star team when he went to Sporting, Mario.
And he did. He had like a lot of items, right? And so
I don't care what anyone says, that was a good team. That JJ went to go coach.
The core of the 2016 Euro team was in there. You know what I mean? Like that was the fact that Ruben Amorim won with Sporting relative. This is a weaker Sporting than the 2016 Sporting that George Jesus had.
Oh yeah.
No, talking a bit about because we're talking about loanees that went out and we never saw them again. Like, we have the likes of Gilberto playing for us right now. Whatever happened to Buta? Buta
actually sold him though, right?
Yeah, we sold him to Antwerp. Yeah, to Belgium.
Yeah.
This
I like that guy.
I love this guy. This guy had speed. He had a lot of speed, and he still has, right?
I mean, Nuno Tavares has speed though.
Eh?
Nuno Tavares has speed.
No,
I know.
He's got.
I know.
Yeah, so
I know. I'm just saying,
that,
you talking about speed. I mean.
Oh yeah. No, he had more than that though, man. Like, I'm just saying, like, this guy was like, I think it was like, he was playing for Benfica B team when they were runner-ups, right? It was like 17. I think it was like 16 or 17. They were runner-ups. He got like team of the tournament as well that year, I believe. This guy was an absolute beast. He came on to the A team, played a couple games, I think, if that, and then just left. He's like, no, we don't like you. And you don't understand why, though. And then now we look and we got Gilberto. We never needed Gilberto. If you had Buta there, you got André Almeida and you got Tavares and you got Buta. One of them can play. The other one can sit down. The other one can just, I don't know, get the sandwiches. Like, I don't care. Like, you don't need to get a Brazilian guy from whatever freaking club just for like 15, whatever it was, 1.5 or whatever it was. It's cheap as shit. I know, because he's shit. That's why it was cheap.
Of all the loan players that we have out there, I'm confident to say that I would only want 2 of them back. And I'm not talking about. I guess 4. Oh. 4 of them. Tino, Jedson, got to come back. Vinicius has to come back, and this one might surprise, but I would like Alpha Semedo to come back to Benfica.
Yeah.
I would like Alpha Semedo. I would take Alpha Semedo back.
I don't know about Jetson, but I'll take Alpha and Tino and Vinny.
Me and Luigi are on the same page there with Jetson. I'm a little iffy, especially even after this Euro. He wasn't too great. But like Pedro Pereira, the guy that we loaned out to Crotone in Italy.
Oh yeah.
He's a right back or like right wing back. So I wouldn't mind seeing him back. Then, like, for me in general, in terms of guys we loaned out, like Dantas, I think needs to somehow find his place in the squad.
Tiny,
and Krovinovic would be interesting. Yeah, that's the only thing. But like, Semedo,
he's a
honestly,
midfielder, right? He's a midfielder, right?
Krovinovic?
No, not Krovi. Dantas.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, completely different. Different.
Yeah, you gotta. I think he's more. I think if he would flourish but see, it would be such a small up top. You had Dantas and Gonzalo Ramos. Imagine how small that is up top, though. A great players.
You know what?
But holy shit, you're losing. 4 feet.
I always quote that, but then I look at like the Barcelona, like Xavi and Iniesta weren't big guys. Am I comparing him to them? No, but I'm just saying, like, we do sometimes take that for granted. Like, would I rather have Pizzi, like, what is he, like 6'1", or like a Thiago Dantas, who's like 5'7"? I'll take Dantas. Like, and I'm just saying in terms of like the skill and the potential and stuff there. Obviously, he hasn't shown anything, and Pizzi has in the past. But I just think sometimes, like Ricky Puig, even at Barca, I do think those like small guys sometimes can surprise you, just because the game does seem like it's a little bit less physical, like every year.
Smaller people are just better.
But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey,
smaller strikers are the best strikers.
Yeah, I'm 5'4", and I know I'm not growing much longer, so I need people to start liking small people.
No, but there is.
No, I'm saying I would like to see Dantas. I'm sorry, Mario, but put him up top. I think like
5'4".
to connect the midfield, put him up top like a center forward, if you would, like that, like
Cam,
like the
Cam.
João Felix replacement, if you will, a Cam, if you will, you know what I mean?
We're forgetting something. I think we are, because we mentioned his name earlier on, and we just went through all the loans and stuff. And Jota's loaned, to Valladolid.
Oh,
right?
there you go. Yeah,
And,
completely forgot.
You just
back.
speak about Felix's replacement. I'm not saying he's going to replace Felix. I think we need to forget about trying to replace Felix. I think we need to just get somebody else there. Like Felix didn't come in to replace Jonas. Although people tried to make it that way, we got something completely different. But it works. That's what we need to focus on. It's like we get Jota, forget comparing him to Felix, because if I was Jota and I'm sitting there, why are these guys comparing to Felix? I'm Jota, man. I'm different. I play different football. And like, I'll be honest with you, I ain't got no time to sit there and watch Valladolid play, right? Like, whatever. But I've watched obviously under 21s, and he was absolutely fire. So I why is this guy not, like, why is he not an option? And on the same page, how is Servi not an option? And if Servi's not an option, then sell him, because he has a market. He has to have a market. He's Argentinian. Argentinians have market anywhere they go. It's an Argentinian guy. Sell him to Boca Juniors. They will still they have money to pay. Like Boca Juniors or River Plate, right? They'll have money. And if you're gonna just sit him on the bench, I love the kid. I love Servi, dude. But if he's not gonna play, what's the point? Anybody comes in and just plays over him. Like, Everton came in, lovely guy. I like him, but he doesn't even get spoken to sometimes. It feels like it's like, hey, sit down, bro.
Real quick, what I find hella funny is that sometimes Benfica fans, we sit here and say, yeah, we got to get rid of him. But if we don't, I'm sorry about the noise in the back, but if we don't want him, who else the fucking wants these guys? You know what I mean? Like, it's not so easy to just offload.
No.
Trash.
But I'd say the one thing that Benfica did very poorly this year, and you guys brought it up with the loans, which guys do we want back? And I'm looking at so many of these names. The biggest challenge we had, like Thomas Tavares, I wanted to see him back because I liked him better than Nuno, but he didn't play at all. And I think I really wouldn't want him back either, because he's not going to beat Diogo. He's not going to beat Grimaldo. And the kid needs to play. And I don't mind having some bench strength. But the issue I have is many of these guys did nothing. It's just terrible loan deals. And with Servi, if we got Servi on contract, if we're not getting the right price, the kid is talented enough, man. Loan him out, man. Loan him out. Ooh, I lost him. But yeah,
guys.
But you loan him out.
Well, Mario,
go for it.
Who the?
No, I was gonna say, in terms of like Tomas Tavares, like, he didn't play at all when he was in Spain. But when he came back to France, he played, like, he got loaned in early January and played every single
true.
game.
Yeah, and he got a good bit of
pretty
games
much
there.
after.
That's true.
He was a good example. Like Luis was saying, time to watch Valladolid. Guess what? Jota barely played, so it's a good thing you saved your time. Like,
yeah.
Those are the loans that it's like, you loan a guy like Jetson to Tottenham for a year and a half, doesn't do anything. You do Vinicius, he's there, doesn't do anything, doesn't get the playing time he deserves. You're sending a guy like Dantas to Bayern. You know what? Honestly, I know he wanted to go there. That's a different story. Was it the best fit for him? No. I think another team in Liga NOS may have been a good fit for him. But you go through the list, and it's like David Tavares went to, I think it was Moreirense, and then came back. Like, all these failed loan deals. If you can't, like, get other teams, like, find good fits for your players to develop, it's going to make this offseason thing a lot harder, because, like, you're pretty much starting from scratch. Like, yeah, you said we shouldn't have, we were talking about Everton before. Maybe if we had managed Jota a little bit better, we wouldn't have gotten Everton, and Jota would have shown something this season. Who knows?
Yeah. I got a
Can I just ask you a quick question?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, who the fuck is Christian Arango? Like, this guy has been on loan since 2018, right? He came from.
Isn't he in the MLS right now?
He's playing for Liga he's playing for Miluna. Okay, so listen to this. This is Vieira's shit, man. I gotta be honest. Right, so in 2018 and 17-18, right? We get this guy for 400k, right? This is euros to Benfica B. And then for all these years, he's gone to Desportivo Daves, he's gone to Tondela, and he's been with us. And then we loan him out this season to Millonarios, where he came from back in 2018. It's like, it makes no sense. What is going on? Like, and apparently he finishes his contract, or he finishes. Okay, so you won't come back until June the 30th, 2022. That's when he comes back from his club where he left to come to us. Like,
It's one of those things where it's just poor strategy. And this is the challenge right now with the George Jesus situation. He's got one more year left in his contract, right? One more year left. Does he give a damn about any of the players out on loan or that are going to go on loan in terms of their long-term development for this club and what he'll do? This guy is guaranteed gone. He is not sticking around after this year. So Vieira's advice, if he goes George Jesus, is like, where should we loan these guys out to? He's like, I don't care. So Vieira's second person he'll call, likely it was going to be his first person anyway, is going to be the agents in terms of fees. Where can I turn a commission? Where can I make some money? Where can I do a side hustle or a deal? Now, I don't care if the guy plays or not. I just know the business aspect, and that's it, because that's Vieira's world. If he's to get any advice on player development, it has to come from the manager, and we got a manager that has zero interest in that, right? So, so right now it's a 2-year contract for George Jesus. I don't know what's going to happen. We got a lot of stuff coming on the General Assemblies. A lot of confusion has happened lately. May I just do a quick blurb on that? Long story short, there was supposed to be a General Assembly. Then the club, with the fact that Portugal's opening up, allowing the Champions League, allowing things to open, said due to COVID, we can't have a General Assembly, made up this excuse. And they got called out on this BS excuse that they then said, okay, fine, we'll have a General Assembly, which is supposed to discuss everything that's happening at the club. But what you got to do is if you have any concerns about how the club is run, email the I don't give an F email address at bifica.com, and someone may respond to you. You're not allowed to ask any questions. We're just going to vote yay or nay on the budget. And then a bunch of the socials got 10,000 signature, not 10, I don't know how many signatures they had to get. It's quite a bit of signatures. And they're forcing another General Assembly in a few weeks to question things.
The club's a mess, isn't it?
It's complete circus.
Basura.
So now, okay, so we got George Jesus. I don't think he's going anywhere unless Vieira truly feels the heat, like, is he going to get tossed out the window because George Jesus, then maybe he'll fire him. But I don't think he's going anywhere. I got to just say this real quickly. I saw Brian said something horrific in the chat. I got nothing against Brian at all.
Yeah, I saw it.
I don't like the words he's typing. Those are bad words. Saying these ideas of Diogo going to Inter. We're talking about all these like loanees, guys we got to offload off Benfica, guys we got to bring back, where we got to spend money. The last thing this team will need is to take one of the few pieces that are working.
No. So I heard that Diogo's going to Inter, but we're getting Hakimi. I'm joking. I'm still wearing that.
Hey, really quick about him going to Inter. Does he go to Inter to play right back?
No, he goes to Inter to play striker, and Hakimi is coming to play right back.
No, seriously. Does he go to play right back or right wing?
I didn't play what? I don't know. Right back. I've not heard about this. To be honest.
Because if he can go play right wing, I guarantee he will.
I think there are two really key personnel changes or like decisions that if I don't see, Benfica as a whole, JJ, LFE, they all have a hand in signings and obviously the squad they're building up. If I do not see Florentino, which right now hearing that Lage is going to sign with the Wolves, that scares the hell out of me because first of all, LFE and Mendes love money laundering back and forth. So that we're going to be selling some people there one way or another. And that scares me because Lage would love Florentino, I bet. And two, if Diogo Gonçalves, for whatever reason, leaves or is not just giving, the ability to fight with Andre Almeida, because people are forgetting Andre Almeida is going to come back too. He hurt his knee back in October, so he should be ready by the start of the season.
I was going to mention that.
And like, if those two decisions are made to be like, listen, we're going to give Florentino a chance, we're going to give Diogo Gonçalves a chance, chapeau, as they like to say.
Chapeau.
It's not going to look good. And to me, I'll just lose all my faith and be JJ out through and through.
Yes.
Fucking hell, man.
Should we go to the? I know we can go on a lot more. Any particular stat you want to cover off, Joe, before we go to the whole choice of the season and all the fun stuff?
Well, in terms of just like looking at the stat sheet in general, it was a lot of fun, but it really just came down to looking at like the involvement per minute. One thing that I was really surprised with was to see how much like out of the defenders, you take out Andre Almeida, who only played, 5 games,
yeah,
and Diogo Gonçalves was your biggest contributor. in the defense in terms of like offensive output. And he actually, if you look at the midfield too, he ranked 4th behind Everton, Pizzi, and Rafa Silva, and that's pretty impressive to me. And I really think that shouldn't go unnoticed. That's like something to me that really, when you talk about like breakout player of the year, I think for all of us he was up there in the running. But for me, he certainly won it for me. The passion he showed in that Arsenal Europa League match, the whole stretch he went to after that, after seeing a guy week in and week out play ahead of him who's way worse than Gilbert, like that could take a toll on a guy. A guy could give up, but he's like, no, I'm going to stick with it. And he really gave his all to the team. And like you mentioned before, Mario, he's one of the bright spots of this season, without a doubt. And, things happen. You have bad seasons, but as long as you have players like that show that they still care, that's why we still watch the games. That's why we still love Benfica at the end of the day.
You guys remember at the beginning of the season who I said I was most excited to see?
Who was that again?
Diogo Gonçalves.
Yeah.
It was Diogo Gonçalves. And I'm glad that he made me look really good, man. He really did. I'd hate to see him leave, bro. I would hate to see him leave. Like, I think he's just kind of scratching the surface of what he can offer Benfica. Like I said, you get 10 pounds on the guy, get a little muscle, get just a little bit more on him. Man, I think the kid, like you said, 4th offensively and from the right back position. But I mean, I know that's how we play anyways. That's how most teams play. Like, they're more wing backs, if you will, right? Those backs are not defensive minded. You know what I mean? Like, I'm hard pressed to find a real defensive left back nowadays who doesn't offer anything going forward. But I think Diogo, for me, could easily be not just breakout player of the year, but just one of the best players that Benfica had all season, just based off of what you told me from stats.
So since we're talking about fullbacks, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring his name in, and I know there's a bit of controversy lately with him, but Nuno Tavares, here's a guy that, came up the youth system. For those who haven't heard, he got caught up in a controversy where, pretty much looks at a bar or club or whatever the heck he is, not saying the nicest thing in a sense to Grimaldo, just being a bit of a dick about it. And if I don't,
he didn't say anything.
Well, the guy, but he's nodding in acknowledgement with this guy, right? Yeah, he's nodding with this guy. He's like, yeah, and then if it's not a Benfica, I'll play elsewhere. Like, in terms of guys who play, we're talking about Diogo, who's playing for the shirt. I don't see Nuno, which surprised me because he's from the youth academy. But if he's got his ego up his ass for whatever reason it is, he's the kind of guy that you need to get out of the locker room, loan him out, send him somewhere else. I don't mean sell him. Don't be vindictive. But the reality is, he's not displacing Grimaldo. And if he's that dissatisfied with his lot in life, if it's not Benfica, it's elsewhere.
Yeah, I would be surprised. And I want to. I hope this is not breaking news to most Benfica fans. But all of these players will take a check before they took a jersey. Like, before the, you know what I mean? That's what they're here for. I mean, like, the pride of the shirt and all of that, that you get paid well and you're playing well, it's easy to love a club. It's easy to love a club when you're on fire. You know what I mean? These all guys are business. It's a business. You know what I mean? They gotta feed. And it's not that I was bothered by it. Like, I don't rank Nuno Tavares too highly anyways. You know what I mean? So what, the bench player was talking shit with some drunk guy. You know what I mean? Who they were gonna kiss, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that to you. It looked like he was leaning in to kiss Nuno. It was a little weird. That's what was weird to me. It wasn't weird to me that a player was out there at the club and shit, and someone's saying, "Yeah, this guy needs to start." What is he gonna say? Hold on, sir. No. As a matter of fact, Grimaldo has been playing for Benfica, and just what he's gonna pull out stats and shit out of his wallet. Like, what the fuck did you guys think Nuno Tavares was gonna do? Right? But at least he didn't let that guy kiss him.
Yeah, if it was a dog, it would have let him kiss him. But
maybe a dog.
If it was, oh god, this guy Nuno Tavares needs to delete all social media, just walk away. He sees a camera, run from it. Like, but no, I mean,
but it's player psychology.
In that place, obviously. Yeah, I expected him just to be like, at least give him a face and be like, "What did you say about Grimaldo?" Like, all right, like, kind of walk away from the guy after.
What is that?
Even if you didn't feel that way, you have to do that.
But my thing is,
you guys are better than me. I wouldn't have. No. Like, yeah, fuck Grimaldo, bro. I should be starting every day. I'm fast. I'm hella fast. I'm the fastest. No one's faster than me. That's how it would have ended the fucking
No,
conversation.
no, but I'd have less of an issue with the video. It was more the follow up, the quote unquote
The kiss.
the apology. No, the lack thereof of a 2021 man. The guy, if Nuno turned around and kissed that man,
He went,
I'd be like,
"Ew."
dude, you upgraded from a dog to this like slime ball looking guy at a bar. At least it looks like
From a dog to a dog.
yeah, at least a dog with 2 legs, you know what I mean? Or maybe 3, depending on the dog he's looking for. But anyways, the one thing I wanted to say about Nuno, though, it was more the follow-up, his apology or quote, I'm sorry you guys saw that video. It wasn't for you to see kind of. It was just kind of like, I'm not sorry about the situation. I don't care what your feelings are. The reality is you're a professional. If you're out at a bar hammered, loads of athletes get caught all the time, just like any other human being. I don't think people are perfect. I think in a sober situation now, I don't know how many days it was after this event, you see this shit on social media, you see the reaction, you know, you come out, listen, I was out partying, the guy said something, I just kind of nodded in agreement because I don't know who this schmuck is, I'm not really getting involved, I could care less. Listen, you know I love the club, this is BS, don't let this change your opinion of me, yada, yada, yada. But instead it was kind of like, sorry you guys saw that, it wasn't for you guys to see, it was supposed to be a private video. It's the way he went about it, and then what Joe was saying, the kissing of the dog, him getting off social media, there's something to be said about team psychologists. Every club has a psychologist on staff at the highest level. There's a lot of psychology that goes to individual players because they have personal lives. They might have a lot of stuff going on. They might have challenges and things of the sort. How is the team managing that? You know what I mean? Like and I don't want to say they have to help the guy, but I think the guy staying on, not playing, isn't going to make the situation any better. Like, I think next season, if we don't sell him, we got to loan him, in my opinion. You just got to, you know, Nuno stopped following Grimaldo and every fan page of him. Look at that. I didn't even know that part.
That's not true. I actually just, because I had heard that before and I was going to bring it up.
Okay, I never heard that. I never heard that.
We're both still following each other.
Okay. But, like, I think this is where...
Real quick, Mario. No player is gonna love the club as much as we do.
I don't expect them to love the club. I expect them to have their
no one of these like Rui Costa. There ain't too many of them like that anymore.
But they got to have their head in the game. You know what I mean? And there has to be also, you know, there's certain players. There's different types of players. Some guys, they want the paycheck, and a lot of guys do. Majority of guys do. Other guys that kind of want to, I'm not saying play for the shirt, but they want to break out. So it's like, if you tell Nuno Tavares, do you want to go make some money in Saudi Arabia or in Benfica? He seems like the kind of guy that'll go to Saudi Arabia, and that's fine. But I really think Benfica needs to avoid those types of players. You got to get players that go, what do you want to do? It's like, listen, I want to play, I want to become a star at Benfica so I can play in Europe. And, you know, if I leave Benfica, I want to go to Real Madrid or I want to go to other teams because I want to not only get paid, but I want to move up in the career. So true guys have the hunger to move up, career-wise, professional-wise. Other guys, they just want to get paid, and it's all fair, right? But it's and that's the challenge, right? It's what kind of mentality do you want? And I think Benfica is full of a lot of guys that are just there for a paycheck and could care less. And I think that's an issue, man.
Well, if they wanted players who loved the club, they would sign Benfica after 90. They would sign us, and we would go out there and we'd play and we would show everybody how you love the club. We wouldn't win very much, but we would love the fuck out of the club. I'll tell you that.
There's only 5 of us. We'd struggle, you know?
We'd struggle, but boy,
we'll do it. We'll do
every
a
game.
We'll do a concession.
With 11 unbeaten. And if we ever scored, just all of us kissing the
all of us. Yeah. I would do like Hulk Hogan. I just rip my shit off. And not play with one for the rest of the match.
We should do a 5-a-side team.
Just we're in a sports brawl for the rest of the match.
Yeah, Benfica after 90, 5-a-side.
Oh man, that'd be quite
and we can play. We
wouldn't win one regular season game, but we'd win the Super Tasa. That's we can't play that, can we?
Oh god, that's harsh. That's harsh. All right, let me go over to the Shorista match section. One second.
Yeah, let's do it.
I have.
All
been
right, let's
boozing
go.
it.
Look at
There
his
we go.
color.
He's full of milk,
All right.
milk and cookies.
I'm an athlete.
Tea. Sorry, tea. They drink tea out there. My bad, guys.
So stereotypical.
Fuck you mean? When I'm drinking juice?
Come on, man. Don't
Fucking
be
juice?
stereotypical, man. He's been on the Bangers and Mash. Come on.
Bangers and mash.
Spotted dick, anybody?
What the fuck? Where did that come from? He's like, I'm signing out. Click.
Like, I thought we were being prejudiced. My bad. I'm sorry.
He's out. He's out.
I thought it was prejudice hour.
He's like,
My bad.
I'm done. That's a line
He's from
cross.
Gloucester,
He's like, I'm out.
not Alabama. Oh, God.
Not Alabama.
They eat spotted dick in Alabama too, brother. Believe
Yeah,
me.
the only difference is that in Alabama it's your cousin's dick.
Exactly. That's exactly right. That's
God.
exactly right.
Bro, that's good, man. That's good.
For this.
Oh, Alabama's gonna be so mad at us. Fuck them.
Fuck him.
I would like to know if there is one Bifikish out in Alabama. That'd be quite hilarious.
Not one. Not one.
That one.
There's many.
I guarantee.
I heard there's
a
many
lot of Porto
Portuguese
fans out there. Yeah.
Porto as well?
There's probably got to be a lot of Porto fans out there.
Definitely important.
Bunch of cousin fuckers. Let's go. Let's run it.
All right. So we'll rhyme to this, real quickly in terms of Shorty's player.
Hey.
Let's quickly start. Okay, go, Melo.
Hey, real quick. I don't want to touch it. The U21s. His son. What's his name? Son.
Yeah.
He's trash.
Yeah.
They kept calling him a little messy. Hey, what are you talking about? What
He's
makes him a little
yeah.
messy? Did he dribble the ball to out of bounds? He's trash. This guy's
It's
fucking
5
trash.
foot nothing.
I'm glad he never wore a Benfica kit in the fucking little bastard. Anyways,
I never did either.
he was super trash. They're like, oh, things are gonna change, and nothing changed. This guy just trash. It's like fucking garbage. Brought in Gonzalo Ramos with 2 minutes left. I thought JJ was coaching for a second there. I was like, is JJ on the side?
Actually,
JJ.
I'm gonna be not blaming Benfica at all for this because it's terrible too. We went to the final of the U21. If Benfica had done better with their loanees, with the Tavareses of the world, the Florentinos, the Jetsons of the world, with Gonzalo Ramos and the Jotas, that would have made a better impact on that team. Maybe. Coupa de Benfica.
Yeah, so basically,
Coupa de Benfica, why we didn't win the Euro.
hashtag a Coupa
Right, I
de
guess
Benfica.
As always.
Stretches a little farther, huh?
Man, the
Jesus
guy's got
Christ.
tentacles, man. He's everywhere.
That's
Yeah, we
so
said,
good.
yeah.
But yeah, so let's just quickly start. Okay, let's start with the fun one, the Choris one. Let's get the negative one out of the way. We'll do a little bit of rapid fire. Ethan, who would you say your Choris of the season would be, man?
JJ.
5. He's gonna get all 5. There's gonna be one guy get all 5.
I can only choose one, can't I?
Yeah, pick one. You pick one. Yeah.
JJ.
Yeah, he
JJ.
did the
JJ.
Okay. So,
Wow. Okay.
all right. Let's.
No
I
problem.
don't like
Let's-
him. I don't want him at my club. I don't want him anything to do with the club anymore. He's done a rubbish job. He's old.
You've got
he's-
no fans.
Decrepit.
He's gone, he's gone. He's just no good. And decision making, everything about the Don, don't like him. Doors that way. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
You don't like the silver hair? JJ has had silver hair since he was 17 years old, bro. What the fuck, bro?
But it's
I've seen a picture of JJ in high school. He had silver hair. I'm like, what the fuck?
but it's not
Good
as
guy.
but it's not as full. Like he looks more raggedy now. You know what I mean? He looks more disheveled.
It's not his
It's
fault.
miserable,
It's no one's
man.
fault. What?
He's
If anything, it's
I hate
Barber's
him.
fault.
I hate him.
all right, Joe. Who would you say your Choris this season would be?
There's some low hanging fruit, but I'm gonna let you guys get to those, and we'll touch on anyone after that we didn't get to. But for me, in terms of just kind of like where my expectations were and everything, really to me it was like Gabriel. Like this guy, ever since he had that little eye injury, I think Mayavu's 93 years old, and I think he could hit a ball more accurately than Gabriel. I seriously do. This guy, like to defend, when he comes in, he's a guaranteed yellow card because he has no fitness. He'll just go grab the first shirt he can, and it's yellow. So he's already a detriment because he's a red card waiting to happen all season. Didn't do anything. He had 1 goal, 3 assists, but even then, with the way he hits the balls, if you look at how many errors he had leading to goals, pretty much offsets that right away. And the guy has no passion. I think he was part of the problem last year. I think he was a huge part of the problem, whether it was on or off the field in the locker room this year. And he's on my express list to Turkey or Saudi Arabia or China or wherever. Just get him out. Get him out. He was Shadis of the year for me.
He will go to Wolves.
Yeah, I'll quickly.
I know he's going to Inter.
I'll go real quickly. It's gonna follow the cameras in the row. My Sharice the season to me. I'm gonna.
I was gonna say I thought I missed the fucking game. I'm like shit.
I wish I missed most games to be honest this year, but like, my God. So the one I'm gonna go with actually is gonna be Luka Waldschmidt, and the reason being is we got rid of Vinicius, the top goal scorer, for Luka. We were gonna get rid of Seferovic potentially also. He was hired as the primary striker. He had a Bundesliga experience. My expectations were up here, and he underdelivered. There's other guys where, and I think it's a good shout, Gabriel, in a sense, because it's a guy I've been very disappointed with. I think he's been terrible. I'd rather keep Luka than I'd happily ship out Gabriel. I want to keep Luka. But in terms of expectation and how poor he was, and the fact that he got so many damn minutes and he just didn't show up, I'm going to go with him because he just really, really just friggin' disappointed the heck out of me. Fabs, when his change their name to. We got a club full of shoodies here. Okay, Alex, you go. You're next, buddy. You're next.
I thought this was easy, bro. Gilberto's the shoodies of the year, bro. He's the worst fucking player on the team. Forget not being able to pass. Forget all that shit. He's the worst fucking player. His shoodies, there's no doubt about it. There's no doubt Gilberto gets big shoodies. Marcella, shoodies, he gets, he even gets to drink the grease after what's left on the chorizo. You got to lick the hot pan. He's the worst player that Benfica had, the worst signing Benfica made. It was a waste of $3 million. He's the chorizo of the year. There's no doubt.
Luis?
I go for a player that I expected a lot more from, and he's really let me down, man. I love the guy, but Tarabt, after playing against Bournemouth, and showing all that flair, all that shooting from outside the box, all that balls in behind, it wasn't even good enough to play. Even with the likes of Gabriel really not showing up, it still wasn't an option. And we had to adapt, we had to change things up, and I don't think there's any more excuses. Like I've been a little bit. Always making excuses, or maybe he's not playing where he wants to play. Maybe he's not playing who he wants to play with. Maybe he's always. It's been a whole season of this, so. I think it's time to say goodbye. I love the guy. I loved him at QPR. I loved him at Milan and stuff. But it's time to say goodbye. As much as you love someone, or the memories you have of those players, mainly outside of Benfica. I was excited when we bought him. He obviously let us down big time. Then he came back on fire, and now it's just time to go, brother.
Yeah, he had one good spell there, right? And he hasn't been able to live up to that momentum he was building.
Yeah.
I think in closure in the chat, I'm not sure. I don't think he fully likes Strat, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I
will say
a huge letdown this year, man.
But yeah.
I will say he did kill it at Urban for anyone that's familiar with the location in Lisbon.
I actually know some people that used to party with him, Sporting fans as well. But yeah, we'll go past that.
It explains a lot.
But here's the thing,
he did have a pretty memorable. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I feel like this was like the Costco of Choris this season. We got a club pack of Choris going on here. I don't disagree with Alex. I don't disagree with anyone. And I think there's more guys that we could be naming on the Choris bucket. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
there's so many more guys that really, really.
You want the full list?
The full list, starting 11.
I could actually this season, where my expectations were, I could easily make a starting 11 of my Choris, I guess, with JJ coaching because he's also in there.
Exactly.
But I think the season as a whole has been.
Choris.
Yeah, exactly. And
Gilberto would be on my starting 11 twice. My Chorizo the man, he'd be on there twice. He'd be my left back and my right back.
See, part of the genesis of the Chorizo was that obviously we were making fun of Almeida a lot. We talked to the flop of the match for first few shows we had done originally. And then we're like, we didn't want to be mean because all the Portuguese guys, let's call a spade a spade. We like Chorizo. We love Chorizo. We love Chorizo. We love Chorizo. It was more of a gag. But this is like Spanish chorizo. No Portuguese person buys Spanish chorizo. It's like these are chorizos we don't even want to buy.
It's still that second fight.
Yeah. Let's
still
go.
Second fight.
Let's start the opposite way.
We need a massive clear out. Sorry.
The second fight. It's the only second fight. Nobody's missing Mayweather beat up Logan Paul yet.
I do want to watch this fight. Okay, so let's go with Luis. We'll go the other way now. More positivity. Okay, player of the season, Luis. Who would you say?
Son of a bitch. Man, that's a tough. I wanna. I don't want to do it, man, but I have to do it because of everything I believe in and everything I respect in a player. Otamendi for me is the player of the season.
Okay.
Just because of all the shit he had to take in when he signed for Benfica, the Twitter shit, including me, Instagram shit. You know, you're a Porto fan, you're a Porto guy, all
That
this
was
shit.
stayed back from way back, though.
No. I don't regret that. I just say that it took a lot. He could have just been like, you know what, fuck these guys, you know. But, he came in and showed a lot more passion for this club than the likes of, for example, our substitute left back, that has been in our B team and for the whole club, So, big respect to Otamendi, man. If you're watching,
Big up.
respect, big up.
Mine. So to me, right? My player of the year, man. Shit. I'm gonna give it to Julian Weigl. I'm gonna give it to Julian Weigl because Julian Weigl was worth his $20 million the tag that we got. He started off rough. JJ is not a guy that is easy to like. I don't think. Right? Ethan hates him. Right? Can't stand him. Hates his silver hair. He doesn't even like silver hair on anyone.
Out here.
So I think Julian Weigl because he kind of met he was the only player in my mind that kind of met the expectations that we had for him when he came to Benfica. He had a half a season with Benfica, didn't play very well. He just didn't adapt well. He started the season on the bench, and then he won a job, and then we almost couldn't play without him. Like, we were better for having him on the pitch at many stretches of the game. Like when we played Porto, Julian Weigl was a must. We all were saying, like, Julian Weigl has to play this game. He was hurt or he had the baby, and then he missed the game for the yellow, right? But he had to be ready for that Porto game. And I just like what Julian Weigl brought to the team. He's not your typical JJ, sweeper in the back. But the guy played very well, and he was an integral part of, the success of this team. We didn't have much success, but Julian Weigl was the only person worth what we paid for him. So I'm going to give it to Julian Weigl as the player of the year, in my opinion.
Yeah, man, that's a good shout. Good shout. I'm going to give mine. I'm going to kind of follow the limelight of players we signed. I'm going to give it to Everton. And reason being is, of all the guys we signed, he came in with a bang. Luka, first few games didn't look too bad. Darwin didn't look too bad. All the guys we signed initially didn't seem too bad, but they all tapered off, including Everton at one point. But Luka never seemed to have recovered. He never looked promising again. Hopefully he does improve. Darwin still looks like a shadow of what he showed his potential. In a way like Weigl had a terrible period at one point this season. They're talking about him leaving. He just wasn't playing for a little bit there, and then he came back and killed it, And I found Everton also came back and did well, and Benfica to me is a club that has lots of players, or historically always had, even just a few years ago, a team full of players that are really top talents that clubs would love to have, you know what I mean, that they'd have to pay a big fee for. And so I feel we got that in Everton. I hope he can improve. And so I'm going to go with him, man. Joe?
Yeah, so I'm actually I'm gonna toss this in the chat. I'm not sure if it'll show up as a link or not. But I did a real quick plug for everyone. I did a season recap of every team in Liga NOS. It's pretty cool. If you want to check it out. I did every team's MVP for me. kind of their points totals and a little story more or less about each team in Liga NOS, about kind of like how I thought they did and like my expectations for them and how things actually ended up panning out. But in there, I mentioned that Otamendi is also my player of the season. And pretty quickly to sum it up, the team needed a leader, and he was the leader. He started off really rough, like even in the Europa League games, he had the red card against Rangers that really set us back. He had, his first match, he had the penalty kick against Farense that almost lost us the game because that was a pretty close one. And you just go through the season, and you did have a lot of errors there at the beginning, but down the stretch, who had the smart yellows like at the half to make sure they didn't go on a counter and score a goal? Otamendi. Who was the guy like fighting with the Port guys and fighting with the Sporting guys, looking around at Port's jersey and being like, who is this guy? All this stuff, like, yeah, and like this with the Port. Like he literally wore the badge and felt the badge in terms of the starters this season more than anybody else. Like, yeah, you have Serif, you have guys that love the club. PZ, I'm sure Kafa, like those guys used to love the club, but they didn't show it this year. Like Otamendi was the Benfiquista on this team. And it shows when you look at just his stats. There's a reason that Otamendi wore the captain's armband 13 times. That wasn't by chance. He deserved it. And for me, by far, he was top 3 in terms of minutes played over the course of the season. Him, Vertonghen, and Grimaldo. And Otamendi for me is by far the player of the season. Although I agree that Wago was great, and Everton was good as well.
Cool. Ethan, player of the season for you, buddy?
I think that all the players we have mentioned, like, fully deserve, like, kind of player of the year, and like Weigl, Otamendi. Oh God. But there's going to be a lot of controversy with I say, but Brian's just put into the chat what completely goes against what I say. And yeah, I really don't help either. Don't get me wrong, Rafa. Yeah, I know. Rafa has had quite an on-off season. Yeah, right. But I believe there's a player in there, and I believe that he loves the club. But I think this year has been an absolute car crash. And yes, he's had a dead kind of season, but we have seen some quality in him sometimes. And I think he's a little bit underrated. But don't get me wrong, he's had not the best season, but don't get rid of him, man. It's okay to have a bad season. It happens. Yeah. But he's kind of played almost all the games apart from when he had a little injury. But for me, it's got to be him out of everyone else who you haven't mentioned, because I would have chose Weigl or Otamendi, but as someone who's not a part of that is Rafa, and I just think he deserves a little bit of love, because he's had a hard season and it's been tough for him. Because I would say Seth, but he's missed too much for me, and but that's mine. Rafa, agree with me if you want, but if you don't.
I can see we're being very tactical. We're not giving Diogo anything yet, just so he has to stay another season to prove himself.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like we're not getting no fucking trophies yet.
Okay, as dumb as it says, I was gonna pick Diogo, but I was like, I'm gonna give it to Everton because I think someone's gonna pick Diogo.
I really chose Diogo. I was like,
yeah, someone's gonna pick him.
No.
You know what? Let's get to the play of the match, the play of the year.
Right.
I think because I have one. I'm sure.
Go, buddy. Go. You go ahead, Alex.
Because I'm gonna give Diogo something right now. My goal of the season was Diogo's free kick against Arsenal, and it's not. I don't think it might be close as far as that last Everton PZ goal with the link up, beautiful goal, very honorable mention. But the best goal of the season, it kept us right there. It kept us in the game. It kept us. We could have won that. We could have won that on his on that kick. You know what I mean? On that type of goal. And it was the one goal when I think about goals of all season that just stands. That's the first goal I think of. Diogo's bomba from the free kick spot, puts a goal in past Arsenal. It was a very important goal. And who knew? And it's like, again, right? I think always every other year we have a guy who steps up to the spot we had no idea can do it, and he delivers a la Victor Lindelof, right? He comes in, he kicks a goal. It was my favorite goal of the season, my favorite moment, because it erupted. I felt it gave me hope. That goal gave me hope. You know what I mean? It gave me and excited to see him because, like I said, that was my player that I was very excited to see. He's one of my favorite players on the team, just in general. Even going back to a couple seasons ago when he was before João Felix, if anybody remembers, this was the guy. You know, Diogo Gonçalves was the next big thing coming out of the youth, and that goal that he made was amazing. It was my favorite one.
I lost my voice on that goal. Just saying, I screamed for a solid minute. Surprised I didn't get the police called on me, but that was unreal.
It's a good shout, man. Good shout. It's funny. I was thinking that link-up play with Everton and Pizzi, but now you got me wanting to change my mind for the play of the season with Diogo. But yeah, that's yeah. Go, Joe. What would you say?
Well, for me, hearing you say that, like the link-up play to me, it was just really. I thought that play between him and Pizzi was cool. But I'm actually going to have to throw way back to the first game of the season and talk about the Luka Waldschmidt chip in the first match against Famalicão. Like that to me, again, if we're talking about kind of like emotions cling to goals, obviously you have Arsenal doesn't need to be explained. That Sporting link-up goal, like that pretty much ended Sporting's undefeated season if we look at it in hindsight. And to me, that first goal was like, we're onto something here. Yeah, we just got knocked out of the Champions League, but you see guys doing this, like Luka Waldschmidt, guys with class. Darwin had a great game. Everton had a great game. There was just so much hope after that. You know, JJ saying, "Oh, we're gonna rock it. We're gonna play triple," and you're like, "Oh, you know, you can't expect the guy to win the first game. It's only one leg. All this stuff." You started making excuses, and this game was just unreal. And that Luka chip was just such a class finish. And if he does stay, obviously you do want him to stay over some of the other guys if you're going to clear out the locker room. But, man, he does have that potential, like that skill in there somewhere. But he just needs to learn how to settle a ball again because something happened halfway through the season.
Give him another ball.
Yeah. He definitely I don't want him gone just yet. And just to clarify to Ethan, when I said that I wanted Rafa Gall, it was mainly just because I think that his value is really high, and we can't afford another injury or another season where he really doesn't do his best, and then we lose the value. This guy last year when we were in the Champions League, that was a guy that everyone would go and get. Even in the big games against Arsenal, that's where he really showed up the most this season. So for financial purposes, I don't think he offers enough where I'm willing to take the financial hit of seeing his value drop that much, whether it be from injury or just like a decrease in form.
I think if the question was, do I want to keep Diogo or Rafa, I would say thanks for the memories, Rafa. I do like Rafa. I really do.
Yeah,
like him.
So would I if I had a choice.
Yeah.
But how about we just don't sell anyone? That would be good, isn't it?
That'd be good, man. I've been wanting that for a long time.
That was the
man.
most English fucking. How about we don't sell anyone? That'll be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, call it a day, and we're good to go.
He got real cat bait on the show today, bro.
All right. And a quick shout out to Brian. He said Brian said Rafa's goal against Arsenal there is a good one, and the Seth chip.
That's the one I was gonna say.
Yeah, that was yours. Okay, go ahead, Ethan. So that would be your call there.
Yeah, I would either say Rafa's goal. I just love Rafa, man.
We can say that, can't we?
I got his name on a kit upstairs. So like
lying. He's lying.
No, Rafa's goal versus Arsenal, the one against Braga when him and Seth linked up really well. But I think the Arsenal one, because I've never jumped around and ran around the house so many times like I did when he scored that goal. And yeah, I think it's one of my favourite goals. I don't think it's the best goal we've scored, but I think it's one of my favourite ones, like just for that pure kind of emotion, but sort of having that hope of actually qualifying.
The second fight went all 10 rounds, brother, in the 10th round.
Well, your mic's
They're in the 10th round. USA is losing already. 1 minute. 1 minute into the game, Jesus Corona puts a goal past the keeper, bro. What the fuck?
I'm listening
exactly.
to Alex's mic here and listening. Okay, is the fight on? What's going on? So still no
so
fight.
Much shit going on. I got the fight, got the game. This Rafa.
Go, Luis. Luis. What would your...
No, I want to see if anybody remembers this goal because this is like one of the most emotional moments of my life this year. So, for me, and you guys are gonna be like, "What the fuck?" It was the goal was scored on the 21st minute. It was a cross from a corner. We don't score many of those, and it was a cross from Everton, and it was headed in by none other than Ruben Diaz, and that was against Brilliance. And I don't know, you just knew then, that's it. That's his farewell.
Yeah.
You knew it.
Yeah.
It's like if you're writing a book, right? If you're writing a book and that's your fairy tale story, that's how you're gonna do it. There's gonna be a cross from one of the new guys to the captain. He's gonna score a goal. The 21st minute is to do with me, nothing else really. And it's a great header, bottom corner. The keeper and he does this little movement where he sort of runs around all the defenders to come in again and bash. And literally run to the corner flag. It was basically saying, guys, I will always have you here, but I'm going to get my paycheck, like Melu said, right? So yeah, man, respect to the guy. That's what football's about. Unfortunately for us, unfortunately for them. And how about we sell no one? That would be good, wouldn't it?
That's good.
But yeah. Anyway, Mario, I think it's your turn, brother.
So not English one.
That's good, man. That was well done, buddy. We can keep going all night long, but I know we've already gone late. We're gonna have some more stuff coming out in a short bit. My God.
Real quick, just before we head out, I just want to say something before we head out. Benfica's gonna win the league next year, and fuck everybody else.
By April.
Fuck them.
By April.
Swear. If you think Ronaldo's coming, you're stupid. Trincao's not coming. Ronaldo's
not coming because they qualified for the Champions League. So those hopes and dreams died.
I'm tired. It's time to put them back in their place. This year was very humbling. I don't like to be humbled. And Benfica need to do something because I can't go through another season of this. By week, by the end of the season, it was really hard to get up for games. I watched every single one. Didn't miss a game. Didn't miss a match, bro. Didn't miss a fucking match. This year, I haven't missed a match, and I can't even tell you how long and how many years, bro. I don't miss matches, but I can't go through that shit again, man. Benfica need to do something, whether we don't sell anybody and keep everybody, and JJ turns it around. You know what I mean? I'm confident that we will.
So Melo, quick question for you. Sorry, just really quickly. Yeah. I know that maybe if it was you, JJ would be gone today. But for you next season, if you're gonna give him the leash, what do you need to happen? Is it us not qualifying for the Champions League? He's gone. Is it us dropping points against Moreirense in the league?
I think
next season.
I think it's early enough in the season that if he doesn't qualify for the Champions League, you let him go and you bring somebody in to kind of steer the ship for the rest. I think that's how you have to do it because you lose that game. It's gonna be hard to sell the players that you kept that we didn't sell. As for Ethan, right? It's gonna be hard to sell them any glory for this season, whether it's Rafa or Pizzi. With Pizzi stays, Pizzi's it's a very easy contract to keep. He's not going anywhere. I hope you guys know that. It's an easy contract to keep for Benfica. They're not gonna let him go. That's a Benfica contract, bro. You know what I mean? They're not gonna let him go. But it's going to be hard to win that locker room back if you lose the Champions League.
That is such a good question, by the way, Joe, because I was about to ask as a rapid fire one, but it kind of segues really well. Is George Jesus going anywhere? And my answer is no. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I think. I just don't think he's going anywhere. But that nightmare scenario that we start the season and he gets us knocked out of the group stage, not the group stage, the playoff stage right away. Yeah, I'd want him gone. I'd want him gone now. To be honest, I think we need someone else.
I've wanted him gone since Christmas.
But I don't think we're getting rid of him. But does the amount of pressure build? It'd be immense. The pressure would be huge if he gets knocked out of that.
All he wanted for Christmas was for JJ to be out. That's all he wanted for Christmas. He didn't get shit he wanted.
I asked that last year, and we're in June, and it still hasn't happened.
And his birthday wish is that he should be gone by now. It's like this guy's ruining all the special moments.
Yeah. Just causes misery, man. Just,
what a question.
Yes, Brian.
Joe, how would you be in the same boat with that?
I think So something Melo just play after, and I think that, it does. It definitely is worth it.
They got a Mexican fiesta going on.
You gotta turn your mic off.
Mello, all we hear is the fighting in the back. Yeah, just mute yourself for a second, Mello, if you can. Okay, cool. Go, Joe.
Yeah, perfect. No, one thing I would say is like Mello did just mention this, but like, so the for people that don't know, just calendar wise, what's going on? I believe it's like the 7th and 9th or something. It's like pretty early in August that we have the third qualifying round, so 2 legs.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like last year with COVID, so no excuse. Oh, it was COVID. We only had 1 leg. You have the chance to beat them away and at home, no matter who we get drawn to, and then you have the 4th round to figure it out. And if we did get knocked out of the Champions League, JJ has to be gone, and you got to start selling guys because you have like 2 weeks there before the transfer window closes around September. So like you need to make quick work and sell these guys because, like you said, Mel, the fact of the matter is you're not going to be able to sell them. No one's going to want to stay if they don't qualify. In terms of these big names like Everton Cebolinha deserves to be on a team where he's like showcasing his talents in Europe at the highest level. He would have gone to Arsenal if he wanted to play in. If they're not in the Europa League, but at least he'd be playing in the Premier League where he'd have eyes on him every match. Like he doesn't need to be at Benfica to do this. And I hate Arsenal, so that took a lot for me to say. But I would say that similar to all you guys, if he does not qualify for the Champions League, I don't care what happens. He has 4 matches to keep himself as a manager. And if you're a big game manager, if you're expecting to make a deep run in any tournament and you can't even get into a tournament like that in that scenario, gone. Bye. I don't care even if we have to go back anyone but honestly Nelson Verissimo from the B team because that was tough. Okay, I cannot do that again. I cannot hear, and it is what it is when they lose. Toss the Portugal final again. Like anyone but him. But yeah, man. To me, he's got 1 shot, and
so it'd be a tough question to answer because Gary asked the question, "Who would we want as coach?" I think in that scenario, it'd be a bit of a I don't want to call it a crisis scenario. It's the season has started. Whoever's out in the market's already found a job. There's not going to be many unemployed managers at that point in the season. I was going to say, you'd probably go to domestic manager from the Liga NOS, maybe like the guy off Braga, Carvajal. I don't know. Like I would say I can't. I don't know if it'd be a good idea.
Not that early in the season.
No.
The reason I said Luisão, I'm just tongue in cheek, of course. But what I mean is you're going to put a guy who's already there. But you're going to put a guy who's there already.
That early in the season,
you
can still like any Liga NOS club, most of them, you can go and take their manager outside of a big 3. I'm being an ass, but that's kind of, you can just boss your way into it. I think that nightmare scenario where all of a sudden you get knocked out of the Champions League. Imar would be a good shout. If he's willing to come last second, right? Like he's got to dump his current club or what he's doing right now. Right?
Fall asleep.
Luis is not. Luis. Okay, Shishi come, Luis.
Amazing,
yeah. All right, so
let's cut it.
So we're gonna do a Jersey show just to kind of like have some fun in the coming weeks. We're gonna end the show on a special video to Ethan, which he got shown already, but we'll show it to everyone else. But
also, happy birthday, mate.
Yes.
Thank you.
I know it's today. Happy birthday, mate. Yeah?
So happy birthday. We're gonna play it out. But you guys, we'll be back on throughout. We'll have a lot more shows.
Is that the video you done?
We're gonna
this is a different fucking thing, bro.
No, this is a whole complete, even more embarrassing video.
Oh no.
No. This is good. All right, you guys enjoy. Peace.
JJ out.
right, I will post the official happy birthday song at some point. I don't know I don't know what happened to that video, man. I know.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll just publicly embarrass myself.
Yeah, we'll post this video because I clearly screwed up the end because I cannot find this video on the system. I thought I had it teed up. Anyways, peace.